So I want to talk about 9 work habits to avoid working later than you really intended to. So start each day with a plan. Make sure you have a list of tasks that you want to accomplish by the end of the day, and then prioritize that list. So you have a game plan that you can follow. The more that those tasks are tied into the long range goals, strategies, and the things you value the most, the easier it is to prioritize what order you want to do them in. Number 2, delegate. Delegate those tasks. Look at those tasks that you could let go of control of and delegate to somebody else. But don't dump. I mean, really delegate. Give them the information, all the tools and support they need in order to get that done. Look at the task as far as its criticalness, its importance to have done. And then look at your team and see which ones have the skills that can handle that. Make sure you hand it off to the right person with the right amount of support. Control interruptions. When that email goes off or that phone call goes in, screen it, make sure it's not something that's absolutely important, needs to be dealt with at the time. If it isn't, set aside 3 or 4 times a day where you actually go back and pick up and check into those emails and phone calls that you let go at that particular time. If possible, focus on work during your performance, your best performing cycle. And what I mean by that is some of us are morning people. And if you're a morning person and you can adjust your work schedule to work in the morning, get an early start, get things done on that time. If you're an afternoon person and you can adjust your schedule for that, make sure you schedule around that peak performance time. You'll get a lot more done during that time if you do. Avoid personal tasks at work. You know, we're talking about setting a time to leave work and go home. So save those for that time that you go home. It's not that they're not important, but the more we can focus on what we're doing at that particular event, like I can focus on work while I'm there, the more efficient we'll be. When I get home, I'm gonna let work go and focus on family or myself, right? As you work through that. Draw the line. Go home when you said you were going to go home. It takes a bit of willpower to be able to do that at times. Make sure you do that. Those commitments and keeping those commitments at home and to yourself are really important. Clarify again when the rest of your life is going to begin. Maybe you need to do a draw the line exercise. One of the best that I have used is I will complete my, instead of doing it in the morning, I'll take my daily task list and I will put it together and prioritize it the night before. And then once I do that, I take my planner and I put it in my backpack, and I don't get it out unless something important comes up. Others have done things like locking their office door and putting the key up and saying, stay. May sound ridiculous, but some draw the line exercise is always important to determine when the rest of your life begins. Rely on texts and emails for those meetings that don't need a face-to-face communication. Make sure you're succinct in how you communicate and awfully clear with your messages. Review your technology. So when you're sitting and you're waiting for a certain thing, use that technology, make sure it's up to date, create efficiency and less work later when working with them, especially when you're surfing the net or doing some other things for research. Figure out a way to get that set up so it's more efficient and the tool works for you. And last, automate. If there's a routine task that can be automated, do it. So those are the 9 habits.